11 billion Ghana cedis. And sisi amino ka say Accra to Kumasi highway no aban aboka ewo ho, although yen share dan start here adwuma botini bia ewo so na ene na montintan fidie no so fa ha na we kan na nam ha na we so kan and 11 billion Ghana cedis Accra Kumasi highway. And almost sisi amino ka say asrafo mugu ekwan ne so omu eyi kwan na tom no omu kiremu 11 billion Ghana cedis na akom no say hey yes, I see na 11 billion Ghana cedis. Ene be wie kwan ne de na ye de Ghana sika nyina na akwakoye da bi Controller and Accountants General Department. Omo edin tiremu aba omo tiremu a sa 11 billion Ghana cedis no sebe enye ni nyina na omo spend assistance now on the Accra Kumasi highway, and you should disregard some of these speculations and other some of these information and nam amount for kabina amount for so HH no there be now omo din tiremu aba. It is out 11 billion Ghana cedis say as it stands now. Accra Kumasi highway empomoto krent mi mfa so sesi ameno ka say no moto ntimi mfa so mane nyeye no. Almost spend 11 billion Ghana cedis e wo ho a enchiremu ene ye de ba be mamu nti obeje bre na ye de enchiremu no e de amount. So on your screen say release Controller and Accountants General Department omo de aba ye de emu ensem no e be mamu. We also press release. Now oh head in the crate say yes. They want to clarify the false information that is being circulated out there. Circulation on the accounting treatment of Accra Kumasi Expressway funds. The accounting treatment, how is that 11 billion Ghana cedis? How is it being treated in the books of that particular project? The attention of the Controller and Accountant General's Department has been drawn to claims circulating on social media suggesting that government has spent almost 11 billion Ghana cedis on the Accra Kumasi Expressway project, even though the main construction works have not started. And almost what TB said they didn't catch him on Matibi. Say amount for cancer must spend 11 billion Ghana cedis. Ewo Accra Kumasi Expressway. Eba beye ye be no less than 2 hours. 2 hours 30 minutes. Between 2 hours no do Kumasi as a 10 terms so na wo kona oba. Na mo temu a adwuma botene na nkasa ne yen hyase na amount for cancer must spend 11 billion Ghana cedis. Ewo so dada. Almost on Sakabi, Chomba Bichim the Amamo, says say ni and 11 billion Ghana cedis no war now almost spend day, say net year, young cost on the updates. And the Controller and Accountant General's Department wishes to clarify that this claim is based on a misunderstanding of government accounting procedures. And the government accounting procedures, no, Ebimu and Tiasie ye, what I say. Public sector accounting, oh yeah, public sector accounting now, but yeah, and you may be say I say, but then on say in a layman's view, no fakrata no knows actually 11 billion Ghana cedis are. Who say you spend the year? This kind of year, into Controller and Accountants General Department, they want to school us on public sector accounting. Kakrebi. The Accra Kumasi Expressway is one of government's flagship infrastructure projects to avoid the delays, funding challenges, and cost overruns that have affected similar projects in the past. Government acting through the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund, GIF, and only a friend of GIF, a bit more kind of GIF fund, by a GIF, established that Accra Kumasi Expressway Limited, a special purpose vehicle SPV, to implement the project. The company is classified as a state-owned enterprise for funding and accounting purposes. Or the Jumedi no share. A state-owned enterprise, a special purpose vehicle. And the Accra Kumasi Expressway Limited, a special purpose vehicle. And Jom Semwa, almost there be a company be and no Accra Kumasi Expressway Limited, and no a special purpose vehicle SPV. On which we are not as a quina yebe, you know. Omone behe am making sure say the bibia ni sikasem to triani adeno nti say ye bia companies ana limited by shares omo ene behwe am making sure say ehun to triye sikasem ni ade nyina omo ho de be fraba. So the securing of funds will go through Accra Kumasi Expressway Limited. Omo ho na sikasem no befa na omo aba account for it. So entiremu on that very first part no eno no the accounting processes and then the funding the company can go and borrow from somewhere and come and do the project free baby and a project and I say sikane be free baby and because it because state owned enterprise no aban no ebebo ne ho ka aban no be mani sika na omo ba ama be account e ju che one say we no enye highway authority for asem grade bi enye roads ministry for asem there bi o mate adwuma ko bi o mo na eba be hwese kwan na ebe yi because it is one of the flagship projects for Abino Sisi Ameno Kasei. Following Parliament's approval of the concession, government earmarked proceeds from the annual budget funding amount and mineral royalties in the 2025 budget to finance the project. The approved funds were transferred from the consolidated fund into a dedicated Bank of Ghana account. The Controller and Accountant General's Department wishes to emphasize that these funds have not been paid to any contractor or spent on construction works. They remain in the dedicated Bank of Ghana account pending project execution. A jump shemu as 11 billion Ghana cedis no omu eyi free baby a bit say proceeds from the annual budget funding amount and mineral royalties in the 2025 budget to finance the project. Sa baby mienu ne yi sika ne free yes e de ba be ye kwan no. Na omubo account bi ewo Ghana omubo account bi ewo commercial bank say ewo Bank of Ghana say omubo hwe na omu de sika na to ho nti ho de be yi sika no de free. And say ameno ka say the money is still remain and as sika no da so da sa particular account nim ewo Bank of Ghana omu emfa omu ensa enkan. And it is pending project execution. After say asrafo no be yi kwan na to mawie no na omo ede astarte omo ntua contractor bia aka sesi ameno kasa yi enti e basa adwuma na ehya ase a na omo ebe make sure say omo ebe starte eye adwuma no ede omo sa keska no. The ongoing right of way clearing by the Ghana Armed Forces is a separate preparatory activity and is not being financed from these funds. The ongoing right of way Ghana Armed Forces asrafo and separate from the main work. So the preparatory activities, it is that particular one is separate from what is currently ongoing. The Controller and Accountants General Department also wishes to clarify that the government operates at 3 levels: central government comprising ministries, departments, and agencies; MDAs, local governments comprising metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies, MMDAs, and government business entities comprising of state-owned enterprises, SOEs, where the Accra Kumasi Expressway Limited falls. In some chemwa, many different entities and a juma. Now, Ghana, the Expressway, Accra Kumasi Expressway Limited, falls under state-owned enterprises. Under government accounting rules, every transfer of money from central government, that's the consolidated fund, to another government entity outside the central government accounting group, MDAs, is recorded as grants expenditure in the books of central government as a grant revenue in the books of the receiving entity. Edis can be called a buying Edis state-owned enterprise, and as a MMDAs. Metropolitan assemblies and district assemblies sika every consolidated fund mu aban no be recording in their books as grants to these state-owned enterprises, and as these district assemblies and MDAs and as metropolitan assemblies no be call aban no be recording as grants. Na MDAs and as metropolitan assemblies and as state-owned enterprises almost be recording as grants and as a revenue. Grant revenue so that is the first part of the transaction, and I said that is the first part of the bookkeeping aspects about that particular money. Now ochemwa under government accounting rules, every transfer of money from central government group MDAs is recorded as grants expenditure. It's from a buying honor a grant expenditure, and in the books of the central government as a grant revenue in the books of the receiving entity. This is a standard accounting treatment and does not mean the receiving entity has spent the funds. The same principle applies to transfer made to institutions such as the district assemblies, common fund, a get fund, and the National Health Insurance Authority. So books they've recorded it, and Teresa Oma spend this ikano because Oma receiving it is coming to them as a revenue. And in their final account, and as in their account, on better prepare subsequent accounts on prepare no. Uko said there is an expenditure be wo na so 11 billion Ghana cedis ni woma. Then we have to go to Accra Kumasi Expressway Limited and ask them say sikano den amode ye. Enti omo pese omo kira mo say don't get confused bro for tintin na omo training nyina chemu. Don't get confused. Who say Accra Kumasi Expressway Limited are recording 11 billion Ghana cedis in their books as grants revenue. Ababeka omonsa. Yes, Abeka omonsa, but then there is an account our Bank of Ghana, Sikani Dem pending project execution. So don't get it twisted. Says Sikano. So far as I'm recording as revenue, it means we must spend the be. In their subsequent accounts, so who expenditure 11 billion Ghana cedis nishwa, then you can ask questions to get a breakdown of that amount of money. Bro, for tenteno, ninchemu enyina enono. And almost you should disregard all the speculations. Say, or more spend this sika bebrebe. It is therefore incorrect to conclude that because of the transfer appears as expenditure in the accounts of the central government, the funds have already been spent on the construction of the Accra Kumasi Expressway. And the other part of it is also saying that in the accounts of the central government, in the accounts of the central government, expenditure 11 billion Ghana cedis as grant to Accra Kumasi Expressway Limited. Say the central bank is going to record it as expenditure. So we are pending the project execution, which will warrant Accra Kumasi Expressway to also record that money received as grant revenue as expenditure on the project. Central government, as it stands now, it is an expenditure to them. They've released the funds from the consolidated fund, from the mineral royalties. It is gone. Now it is with the Accra Kumasi Expressway Limited. It is with them as revenue. So that is the two-way record in accounting, where he has to record it as the giving end, and this one has to record it as the receiving end. So now it is left with the Accra Kumasi Expressway to also do justice to the money when the project starts. Way every Cephas A. Dosso, head of public relations for Controller and Accountant General Department, and that is the update I did. But then I'm sure say after when you know when you enter kakra 11 billion Ghana cedis no is still sitting somewhere in an account with the Bank of Ghana in the name of Accra Kumasi Expressway Limited. And that is the update I did.